Okay, hello, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. What is your name?
My name is Orlean Tillman,
What borough do you live in?
Manhattan.
Okay, and what foster care agency are you with?
Episcopal Social Service.
How long have you been a foster parent?
22 months.
Okay, so why did you come to FPA Foundation today?
Well, in the beginning, Ms. Matthews, I thought that I was going to have a positive experience with the agency, and it was positive in the beginning. And then my supervisor, and then my worker became the supervisor, and things started to change. The mother of my grandson was not complying, and they had started the process of TPR in her. And she had another child, and when she had that child, then I think she started complying with that child. Okay? My work schedule has always been the same from the beginning, Ms. Matthews, and I've always been willing to go the extra mile to make the visits, but it had to be on either a day that I was off, which I have 2 days off on 1 week, and then 1 weekend, or after work. I've never said I would not come. I've always complied. My worker became a supervisor, and another worker came on. When that worker came on, that's when the first problem started, because she wasn't making the visits. She was calling me up, canceling. Changes. Every time I turned around, changes. The mother wasn't this, the mother wasn't that. So I went to the director, and I let him know. He was very compliant with me, right? I don't know how or what, but I know that she wasn't there anymore. Now the new worker comes. When the new worker comes on, I tried to explain to her, right, that I'm willing to help the mother, and I've always been in compliance with the return to the mother. Okay, always been in compliance with that. If I could help the mother cannot tell you that I would go to any mile to help her. However, I have a job, and I have to feed my family also. Okay, and so I explained to the worker that I can come after work, and that's what I was doing. I did what they said, put the baby in daycare. After daycare, I got off at 2:15. I picked the baby up at 3 o'clock. They would have him ready for me to pick him up, and I would take him on Wednesdays to visit the mother. The father, which is my son, showed up. So now it's 2 visits, okay? So the judge allowed her to have her weekly visits back, because they had taken them away because the first year, the whole year, right, she did not comply. So they started reversing the TPR. I was in compliance with that. It didn't bother me as long as it was around my work schedule. And this new worker, started telling me that I had to come in on days that I could not come. All right, because the mother had visits with the new baby that she had, right? Overnight visits, and she didn't want to put too much on her, and this, that, and the other, and I tried to explain to her that I can't just take off. Well, I went to my first I went to the supervisor, and I talked to her because she used to be my worker, and we worked well together, and we set up days for the visits for every Monday. I told her that I'll be willing to go to my job and try to get every Monday, because my schedule is really every other Monday I'm off, right? And she said okay, and we did that. My job has to change a lot of people around me in order, not just me, right? I work for the mentally ill, okay? It has to be somebody there all the time. You can get mandated on these jobs because these people cannot take care of themselves. So they have to always have somebody in place. and they did that for me. The week that the judge told the mother that she could have every week, that week, me and the supervisor planned it, and I called my job, and they told me, okay, Arlene, we will, allow you. And they told me who to call to work my schedule. I did that. The first Monday that we had that visit, the mother came into the visit. She went to a home health aid agency after the visit, after the visit, I believe it was, because I was waiting for my son also to have his visit after hers. And she came back and she said to me and the supervisor, they just gave me a overnight position, 3 nights a week. Got a date, I don't know if it was Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, or whatever, right? But it was not the days that I could do it. And I looked at the supervisor and I said, I just changed everything. And the supervisor looked at me right back and said, we have to help the mother. She didn't call her job and find out, how many days a week this was going to be. She didn't do anything. Now, I had asked the supervisor once before, right? How do you know that where she's working? Do you have it in writing? How many hours she's working? And the supervisor told me that was not her department, that it was another department that checked that out. And so there was nothing that I could say about that. That day, I was really frustrated. But I don't want, my son had already showed me signs that if I don't comply totally with them, that they might try to take my grandson out of my life. So I don't want them to feel that I'm not going to try to, do whatever I can. I sat right there in that meeting when I looked at the supervisor and she said we need to comply with her. I picked up my cell phone. I called the person that the director of my job told me to call, and I asked her, please stop the process. Because the mother says she has a job now, so the days are going to have to be changed again. She said, okay. But I told the supervisor, because this is not the first time I changed. I changed many times before for her, right? I told her, I can't keep doing this. It's going to look bad for me. I'm going to not be responsible and reliable on my job. And pretty soon they're going to have reasons to terminate me. To say they don't need my services. I cannot afford that. I am 60 years old. I'm going to retire. Okay? I am going to be a person that retires. And this job, I love this job. I love working with the population that I work with. I do a good job on this job. And I do a good job with my grandson also. So, it's no stress. It's not strenuous to do it. But it's like the agency isn't even working with me no more at all. I feel like they have actually turned their backs totally on me. Someone, I can't say who, but someone made a false allegation that I had a order of protection on my son because the mother had an order of protection on my son, so they had to split them up, their visits up. A month later, 2 months later, now they're alleging that I have, and I told the supervisor, no, this is not true. When the supervisor was my worker, I'm a no-nonsense person, Ms. Matthews. When you have any type of problems, if you're my child or not, you have to go the right road. And my son did not, and I had to take order of protection out on him, and I did it. And once he started, he's so afraid of going to jail and the police, he started doing what he was supposed to be doing, so I didn't have to go back to court. That was a year before he even met the mother. he must have told her about this, or someone must have told the mother, or somebody, I don't know who, but someone brought the allegation to the agency. And I tried to explain to the supervisor it's not true, and she told me specifically, cut and dry, well, I'm sorry, but you and your son cannot be in this building together until we find out. I had to ask my supervisor that day to please let me take off from work, run down to family court early, and get a copy to prove, because my son's visit was 2 days later. It was the next day, it was on a Tuesday. I did that. I also went to the lawyer. They had gotten dyadic therapy. The agency had gotten dyadic therapy for my grandson. And the dyadic therapy appointment that the worker made, she called me and said they have dyadic therapy for him now, which the mother had dyadic therapy for a whole year, 3 different times, and never complied. This is one of the reasons why, her TPR went through. The new worker now is trying to set it up again. And she set it up, and she called me and she said it's for 3:30 on, I believe it was Thursdays. I picked my grandson up on 109th Street and First Avenue. It is rush hour at that time. To get over that bridge on 125th Street, it takes 25 to 30 minutes. I get off from work at 2:15. There's no way in the world I could make it to that place by 3:30. And I asked the supervisor, please let me speak to the lady, right, so that I can let her know that we needed, later time. Because when we get to court, I don't want it to look like I'm not complying because I'm late and they're going to close the case. The worker told me, well, if you make it there late 3 times, they're going to close the case. Now, she's talking to me, and I've never done that.